A lady was waiting for the subway. She took a sip of wine, but just because of this act, it almost cost her life. The next second, under the influence of alcohol, she fell asleep. When she woke up, the subway was empty, and it was terribly quiet. She suspected that she had missed the subway. With doubt, she quickly climbed up to the first floor. Sure enough, there was no one in the subway station, and all the exits were locked. She shouted for a long time, but there was no response. She became nervous, because she had never encountered such a situation before. She felt a loss. At this moment, she heard the sound of the train pulling into the station. She immediately rushed down the stairs and rushed into the carriage before the train left. But she didn't know a dark figure followed her into the carriage. Lisa was secretly relieved. She thought she could go home and rest, but the subway suddenly stopped. Strangely, the doors didn't open. This meant that the subway didn't stop normally. At this time, it was only her in the carriage. Lisa walked to the carriage and came in front of the cockpit. She shouted and asked about the reason for the stop, but there was no answer. She didn't know that the driver had already been brutally killed. She continued to knock on the cockpit door. Suddenly, there was an electrical failure. The carriage fell into darkness. Lisa was very scared. Fortunately, a ray of light appeared from behind. She thought it was a maintenance staff. She happily stepped forward to ask for help. But after she finished speaking, the other person didn't say a word and slowly approached. She realized that the other person might not be normal. When she tried to escape, she slipped when she saw clearly that the person was her colleague who had a crush on her. It turned out that the colleague had always coveted her figure. After a brief conversation, the man suddenly pounced on her. When Lisa was desperately resisting, the carriage door opened strangely. A mysterious force dragged the colleague down. Then came the colleague's screams. Lisa slowly approached the check. At this time, the colleague crawled up covered in blood. She sensed the danger and turned around and ran. She passed through carriage after carriage. Finally, Pride opened the door of the cockpit and hid inside. Soon, a dark figure appeared outside the door.